It's California Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in Sacramento. Today we are joined by Rocky Chavez. He is a member of the California State Assembly. In the 2000s, you were a director of a high school in Oceanside. Tell us about those students, how they received their education.
Sure. It was called the School of Business Technology. It was designed to not just give the normal A through G requirements, but also to tie in with internships with businesses and co-enrolled at community colleges.
And that seems to be a trend where you have students, even those that may not be on the AP track, they are taking community college classes. But what I didn't realize, sir, is that some school districts preclude that.
That's exactly right. Some school districts, for whatever reason, some people think it's students out of their classrooms or out of teachers' jobs or going to colleges. But when you focus on students who are ready to move on, let's say you're a student and you want to get in welding.
Sure.
You can take a welding class over at the community colleges, or let's say you're a student, one of my students, she says really wanted to get in a quality thespian area. She was on a number of plays at the community college.
Sure. So as part of a package that the Assembly Republican Caucus presented, the bill by Ling Chang would allow what's known as concurrent enrollment. Explain that.
Well, concurrent enrollment means that a student would not only be at their high school, but they'd also be taking 1 or 2 classes at the community college during their school day.
And it allows it because, like we said earlier, there are some school districts that preclude it.
That's right.
What do you hear? I mean, it seems intuitive. I don't want to take a position, but any opposition coming forward?
There probably will be, because they're going to see it as a jobs issue, but if you look at it as an opportunity to expand the educational experience of children, it makes a lot of sense.
So last summer, a bill was written dealing with the education system, and at the last minute, as I understand it, something was put in that precluded school districts from having their caps reach a certain level if the rainy day fund was triggered. It's a little complicated, but the bottom line is school districts are up in arms over this. They feel as if the state can have a rainy day fund that's fairly high, why can't they? What's the Republican caucus saying about that?
We believe that if we're going to hold school districts accountable for their local control funding, responsible for their programs with their money, then they should also be able to have a reserve. The state requires a reserve. Any business owner you talk to has a reserve, and so should the schools.
So what the teachers are saying, though, is that what school districts have been doing is squirreling away too much money. And as a result, there's not enough money for the kids, not enough money for salaries, not enough money for equipment and building restorations. What's your sense of that?
I met with the superintendent and some teachers in the valley, and he was telling me because even the downsizing of the economy, they were able to keep up and no teachers lost their jobs because they had a reserve.
Right.
So when teachers actually look at it as a business model and think about job security, they do want a reserve.
What are your friends on the Democratic side saying? Because my sense is they're a little schizophrenic on it at some level. Again, not a criticism, but they see the argument that you want to be fiscally prudent, but there's a lot of pressure from their friends in the CTA and from the governor.
I actually think there's a number of Democrats who are going to support it because, just like I mentioned earlier, it gives job security to the teachers.
What is the governor saying, though? Because in the end, he seems to be pretty strong on this. Some could argue surprisingly such, but do you think the governor would be willing to lift this reserve cap?
Depends on the economy, how it's going. I think but he wants to control all the marbles, and I understand that. But if we're going to do local control funding, his idea, then he needs to give him the authority to be successful.
So where do you go from here on this issue?
We're going to push it through. It's actually billed by the caucus, and I expect it to pass through.
Okay, his name is Rocky Chavez. He is a member of the California State Assembly, representing significant portions of San Diego County. I'm Brad Pomerance. It's California Edition.